So officially, this is our first Too Good to Miss in a series. Obviously, part one today on a Monday, part two on a Wednesday, and after the great response with Flo from Produced in Kent, we decided to reach out to some other Kent businesses who are doing amazing things right now and trying to adapt during the tough times. So, on Skype with me today, I've got Mark Robinson, who's the co-owner of it's four businesses, isn't it, Mark? So you've got Vokes, New Cabs, Windmill, and Raynham Taxis.
Well, we actually promote ourselves as being Vokes, Windmill, and Raynham because they were they're the most recent. So we originated with Vokes.
It must be slightly weird for you, your staff, even your regular customers at the moment because we're locked down. I mean, the truth of it is we're locked down. We're being told not to use public transport unless we really, really have to. Um, you're a taxi company. It's public transport. I mean, how have you guys been affected to this point?
Yeah, it's a little bit. We find ourselves in a strange position, and we've obviously had lots of conversations with the local authority to say, like, should we be operating? Are we key workers? How do we view ourselves if any of our employees get stopped in the street by the police and asked, is their journey necessary? How should they respond to it, etc. Um, the fact is, the local authority consider us to be an essential part of the area's transport infrastructure. So, and that's that's not just now. That's always. So the word from the local authority is you are providing an essential service, and we want you to keep providing an essential service. We're still we're undertaking between 400 and 500 jobs a day. That's
Wow.
75% down, but a lot of those are taking nurses, teachers, doctors, the police, to hospitals and their place of work. And that may not be in Medway. We're running quite a few people up to London.
Yeah.
So we are still operating 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we are, instead of doing 2,000 jobs a day, we're less than 500, but we're still providing all the services that we're doing. So it's kind of business as normal, not just not as much of it.
Yeah, I was going to say, quite a lot of elderly people usually use taxis as well, don't they, to go and do their weekly shops to nip into town. So would you say that's the most affected area, potentially?
As you say, there's a lot of people depend on us because they don't have easy access to local bus services anymore. So yeah, we're still picking up a lot of elderly people. We're taking them to the supermarkets and helping them do their in some cases actually helping them do their shopping, but the majority of them taking them, waiting, bringing them back again.
So in terms of when you approach a situation like this, sort of, what is your mentality? What is your mindset? How do you look at sort of planning ahead so that when you come out of this, you're in a great position, your businesses are in a great position to continue thriving?
Um, it's quite a question. The first time that I went through it, I was running a company at the time. It was listed on the stock exchange, so it was a fair sized company, and we were growing like crazy through the back end of the 1990s into 2000, 2001. You'll have heard of the dot-com bubble. So we were creating components which were used in the broadband infrastructure. So we all know that everyone's got broadband today. You've got high speed, or most people have got high speed networks into their homes. We were creating from Medway. We were based in Medway. We were creating components that went into those systems. Our customers were all over the world, based all over the world. So
Wow.
Cisco, IBM, big customers, and we were doing great. If we talk about the impact, the value of the company, so the share price got up to a peak in 2001 of about £4.10, which meant the company was valued at about 110, 120 million pounds. We saw our share price go from £4.10 at a peak down to 4 pence. The value of our
Wow.
company, the value of our company went from 110 million down to 1 million. It was nuts. And that happened over the course of about a year, maybe 18 months at most. When having I was managing director of the company, and you kind of look around, and you've got I don't know how many employees we had, but we probably had 60 or 70 employees at the time, and you kind of look at it, and it's like we need to we need to just stop, and it is crisis. It is crisis management.
Hmm.
And the only you sit and you just got to start making decisions. So you look at the thing that you have to do is look after the business first and foremost. So you almost have to say, right, the most important thing isn't the people now. The most important thing is the business. The business has to survive. Otherwise, there's no jobs for the people to come back to. So the first thing is you cut your costs really hard, um, and in every which way you can. You can. It's the saying is cash is king. You have to stop. You have to stop spending money every which way you can.
Hmm.
If you can do that, then all of a sudden you're starting to you're easing the pressure. You're starting to tread water a little bit. Next step is you look after the people. So what we've got at the moment is the government putting in place various schemes to ensure that people are not just sacked or laid off. So there's the job retention scheme. Like at the taxi company now, we're making use of that already. So we took of our 26 staff, we have immediately put about 16 staff on the job retention scheme.
Is that the hardest part of all this, Mark? Having those conversations, or is it more that by doing it as a business, you've got a better chance of surviving through this now?
Yeah, no, it's absolute. No, we went out to our staff and said, look, the operators, we've got 24 different operators that
Hmm.
work different shift patterns. We went to the operators, so okay, first step is, does anyone want to volunteer to be furloughed, as it's called, because you feel insecure, because you feel that you're more at risk than anyone else. So we got a bunch of people that said, yeah, I'd rather not come in. And then it was a case of we try and arrange the rest, and we have to say to some of them, sorry, but
Hmm.
we really need to we need to cut our costs. You're still you still get paid thanks to the government. It's going to be a bit less, but the fact is that we have to do it to look after the company. So you've got a job to come back to. So everyone has been fine about it. They've not been difficult conversations at all. And I
Great.
think if the mindset is whatever we do, the first thing is we protect the company, then it almost doesn't matter what those conversations are, because you know that you're doing the right thing.
Because it's not an individual's fault. They've not done anything wrong. And I think this is what businesses are pushing. And I've heard business owners say, and obviously we've had some conversations within our business as well. If the need comes to furlough, it's not because you've done anything wrong. It's because the business, like you've just said, there has to come first. There needs to be a job for you to come back to.
I mentioned about taking decisions. It isn't something, and my advice to anybody is, do not agonize over this. The worst thing you can do is procrastinate and not make decisions. In this sort of situation, you need to think really clearly, and you need to make decisions on a daily basis. Some of them are going to be right, some of them are going to be wrong, but it's the making of decisions which get people through this.
Mark, thank you so much for taking time out to chat with us, and best of luck with everything. And hopefully, we can catch up soon and in a lot more positive times. Anyway,
Yeah, good stuff. Thanks, Ben. I
brilliant.
really appreciate it.